What time is it?
I hit it. I call the Williams County Board of County Commissioners meeting, 8 a.m. Tuesday, May 18th, 2021. To order. Beth, will you call roll?
Barry?
Here.
Corey Giles?
Here.
Bo Tucker?
Here.
David Quentin?
Here. We have a quorum. We will continue. First up is the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag and to the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up is the consent agenda. What are the wishes of the board?
Make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I will second.
Tucker does.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda. I will second that.
The motion on the second, is there any discussion? Hearing none. Beth, roll call.
Barry?
Yes.
Giles?
Yes.
Trey?
Yes.
Tucker?
Yes.
And Quentin?
Yes.
Motion passes. Next up is public hearings.
Yeah. Yeah, just read the title of it and then open it up for public comment, so, yeah.
Open up public hearing to read an ordinance of the Williams County Board of County Commissioners, Williams County, North Dakota, allowing the board to award grants to public or private behavioral health service providers from county reserve funds and other county funds not restricted by state law. If there's anyone in the audience that would like to come up, please step forward. If anyone would like to come up, please step forward now. If anyone would like to come up, please step now. No public comment, so we're going to close the hearing.
Yeah, you need a motion to approve it, yes, please. Sure, either one is fine.
Looking for a motion from the board to approve the ordinance.
motion to approve.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing done. Beth, roll call.
Giles,
Yes.
Trey,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Quentin,
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Tax equalization.
Next up is the assessor TAC equalization.
Good morning, commissioners and guests. I have for you today a application for abatement for the 2020 tax year filed by Hacken Jorgensen for Triton Real Estate ND Terra LP on the northwest of the Northwest Section 28, Township 155, Range 102. The applicant is requesting approval of his active farmer farm residence exemption. Mr. Jorgensen did not return his statement of farm gross income to our office before the deadline of March 31st, 2020, and as his statement is required for qualification for the active farmer residence exemption, our office has denied their application and placed his residence on the tax roll at the County Board of Equalization for 2020. Notices of this action were sent out in accordance with North Dakota Century Code. Mr. Jorgensen did submit his statement of farm gross income on February 23rd, 2021. His income from farming activities for 2019 was 93% of his total income, and North Dakota Century Code requires a minimum of 66. A hearing to review Mr. Jorgensen's application was held by the Mont Township Board on April 7th and was approved.
Motion to approve. Looking for a motion to approve.
I make a motion to approve.
I second it.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Beth, roll call.
Trey,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Quentin,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Giles.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next up is finance 2022 budget calendar.
Good morning. There's a lot of you today. I'd like to request your approval on the 2022 budget calendar. There's some items of note for you. July 19th and 20th and the 26th are all budget review dates that you would need to attend. They are on your calendar. And September 21st is the date that would be printed on the tax statements for the Williams County budget hearing. July 19th, 20th, those are 2 days, and then 26th is the extra day. What?
My paper agenda is.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh. 8. We used to start at 7, and I pushed it back to 8 last year. Yeah, we were able to do it in like a day and a half last year. Any other questions?
We're looking for a motion to approve the 2022 Williams County budget calendar.
We approve the 2020 Williams County budget calendar.
There's a motion. Do we have a second?
I will make a second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth will call vote.
Tucker,
Yes.
Quentin,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Giles,
Yes.
Trey.
Yes. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Next up is communications.
Good morning, everyone. Okay, the first thing I have for you is the Community Development Needs Assessment. That is from the Tri-County Development Office. The assessment is something that they use to review certain types of loan applications that they run through their office. This one hadn't been updated in a while, and they have an application that would need to have this assessment run for it. So they had asked for the county to look at it, and then ultimately the chairman will need to sign. We did have I had a couple of folks review it. I reviewed it myself, and then I talked with Dennis about the portion of the transportation part of it. This can also be updated at any time, and we appreciate feedback. They do an annual infrastructure report survey with the different cities and whatnot. So we're just seeking authorization for the chairman to sign.
Looking for a motion to authorize the chairman to sign the Community Development Needs Assessment.
I will make a motion for the chairman to sign.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth will call vote.
Quentin,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Giles,
Yes.
Trey,
Yes.
and Tucker.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, all right. So then the next thing I have on my agenda for you all are the agreements for the behavioral health grant awards. Now that the second ordinance has been passed, we're able to solidify these grant awards and start distributing the funds, and they're ready to hit the ground running. Included in your packet were the agreements for those 6 primary awards from both the 1% fund and the county reserve fund. If you don't, does anyone have questions about those agreements?
How will the agreements be paid out?
Okay. The agreements contain a schedule for disbursement of the funds. So in the case of things like equipment or training, the awardee has to incur that expense first, and then we'll reimburse them after the fact based on the schedule. For things like personnel or space related, so whether they're buying a building, leasing a building, they can request those dollars within a short period, 5 business days before the rent is due or payroll is due. And then all of the expenses require proof that they're going to be expended or that they have been expended. And then at 3, 6, and 12 months from the date of them receiving those funds, per expense category, they owe an impact statement to the board. So that would be passed along to me, and then I would distribute that to the board, and we'll be able to update our website as well with progress throughout the grant. And something else we had also built into the agreement, just kind of along that note, is on an annual basis, we will review the amount of money that they have been distributed so far and how much they have left, and kind of also use that as a checkpoint of, are they going to continue with their plan? What is their pace of spending? Things like that.
Do you need a motion for each one or a motion for all?
So I'm going to read you a suggested really long motion, and then I do have a copy for you. Because actually we need to authorize the transfer of the funds, authorize the chairman to sign, and then designate me as the person to receive the reimbursement requests and the impact statement. So I am seeking a motion to authorize the transfer of $1,118,000 from the County Reserve Fund to the Behavioral Health Grant Fund, Authorize the chairman to sign the behavioral health grant award agreements for Chatter, Eckert, Katie Shannon, Montgomery Counseling Service, and Volk Human Services, and designate Lindsay Norman as the county representative for receiving and approving reimbursements in accordance with the agreements and receiving the impact statements for distribution to the board. No, you just have to say so moved.
I so move.
Is there a second? Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth will call vote.
Barry,
Yes.
Giles,
Yes.
Trey,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
and Quentin.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
I have the copies that you gave me for them to sign.
I have the sign, because I have the ones with theirs.
Next up is County Highway and Engineering Road Update.
Good morning. Just a little update. County 10, this Phase 2 paving from Tioga over to 19, 5 miles, will start second week in June, tentatively. County 7 is starting this morning out here by the Garden Valley School. Or, not Garden Valley, District 8, District 7 School. They're going to get chipping away here today, signs, and slow process to get started, but then they'll be starting. And the bridge bundling will start mid-June. That's it. That'll be on the 13th, 14th of June. They're due on the 11th, so we'll go through them on Monday.
We haven't gotten it.
And then Tuesday will be the commission meeting. That
When
works.
are you going to start doing rumble strips on Highway 5 to Kenora?
There hasn't been a pre-job yet on that. That's through Federal Highway.
Was that this summer, though?
Yes, it'll be this season, yes, correct. And striping, we don't have the answer when they're gonna stripe the whole county yet also. Okay?
Thank you. Next up is State's Attorney Karen Prout.
Thank you. Yep. Good morning. Karen Prout, Williams County State's Attorney's Office. I have really two items on the agenda. The first one is the Upper Missouri River Regional Dispatch Center Third Amendment to the Joint Powers Agreement. A couple weeks ago, you did already approve the changes to that agreement, which involved the oversight of spending 911 fees, the Board of Operations' ability to initiate contact with the dispatch center director, and then allowing the dispatch center to get its own checking account. I just want to give you an update that the City Commission approved the same amendments you did at their county commission meeting, or no, their city commission meeting last week, and so we're just going to have Steve sign off on the amendment this morning, so there's no motion needed. I just want to give you an update on that. The second item I have on there is the DMV and the amendment they want for the kiosk at the Home of Economy. Several weeks ago, the board authorized Micah to sign the amendment with DOT as long as I worked out the terms with the DOT. However, we've kind of run into a little bit of a disagreement about something, and you should have two copies of the proposed amendment in your packets. One is the DOT one that they want, and then the one that I would suggest where I redline a particular provision in there, because there's a provision in there that they're saying that they want the contractor, who is the county, to be responsible for making sure that the kiosk is
has public access and to make sure that it's at a location in the store recommended by the kiosk vendor. However, it's the DOT that owns that kiosk, and it's the DOT that really is the only one that can move it and has the authority to even move it. And so I suggest that we just strike that really, because we have nothing to do with really the kiosk and the location of the kiosk. However, the DOT wants to use sort of boilerplate standard language in all these amendments, and so they're insisting that leave in there, that stay in there. However, when I expressed my concerns about the county responsibility for the location of the kiosk, the Motor Vehicle Division Director, Jen Blomhagen, assured me that provision in there means that the county just can't move the kiosk. And I said, well, if that's what it means, I'm okay with that. So I just want to make sure that you're okay with signing off the amendment as presented by DOT, and if you are, I just want a motion authorizing Micah to sign the agreement or the amendment as presented by DOT. Unless you have any questions.
I make a motion to approve it and sign it as presented.
Is there a second?
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call.
Giles,
Yes.
Trey,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Quentin,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Yep, thank you.
Motion passes. Next up is Dan Kalile.
You looking for me? Thank you. Good morning, Commissioners. How's everybody? Elks Youth Day, Commissioners, welcome. Giles, nice to see you. Gwen, nice to see you too. Great. Picked a good morning to be here. Thank you for allowing me to come in this morning. We have a special assessment district in the works for the Fair Subdivision. Could you bring that up? It's right to the west of Halliburton, the Baker Hughes corner on 51st Street. There's 9 lots in the subdivision. It's a very small project. I can give you a map. And it's, we gotta go we gotta get to the top of the, little bit further north. Little further north. Right there, right where your cursor is. There's 9 lots in there. It's right next to Civil's, across the street from Kevin Christensen. The neighborhood got together, a couple people went out and got the signatures. They had 8 out of 9 signatures. The 9th person was loading the U-Haul when they stopped there, and they're moving to Bismarck. They'd sold their house. So that's enough to start the process, trip the 60% requirement for special assessment district. We originally got an estimate from Wayne Crowe and County Engineering of $210,000, and then we have one from Ackerman Asphalt of $240,136, probable cost on it, excuse me. And it's not really big enough to bond. You know, and it's, as I think you guys know, there's 2 ways to go about this process. There's the township route and the county route. They're slightly different, but mostly the same. So we're looking for some pot of unused money, if there is such a thing, where we could access $240,000 to get this project done, get the payment for this neighborhood while they want to do it, and improve the situation. But we can't cash flow it at the township. We're still recovering from 52nd Street and the Alpha Street project. And so we're looking for some help. or some ideas on what we can do on this paving district. We're trying to tie it in with one in West Acres. That's a much bigger, more complicated project. I don't think we're going to see that one this year. It might be next year before we get all of the wrinkles out of that one. But we have a neighborhood that wants to do it. And it's ironic that when prices are low, of course, there's a lot less cash around to do these projects. But so it's hard to take advantage of the construction costs. So looking for some support or some answers or some help.
Okay. And these people are willing to accept the special
Right.
assessment
And
obviously.
Mr. Chairman, we don't want to go through all the rest of the hearings and the process if we don't have any money to do the project. It would be kind of foolish, or if we have to put it on the shelf for a year and then go out and look at higher prices or, take a chance on next year.
So one of the questions I had, and maybe Patty and Christie can help out with this, but if we were to access the county reserve funds, do we make interest on those funds? I would assume we do, right? And could you guess at a percentage, or do you know precisely? Horrible. Is it more than 1%? Oh, it's less than 1%. Oh. Yeah.
Well, you could,
Christie, you're on the edge of your seat. Okay.
Bush, can you hear me? I just have questions when these township requests come. I know that that's our duty to help them, but we don't seem to have a process in place. So when they come, it's kind of like first come, first serve, but I worry about how equitable it is to all townships. So I'm just wondering, is this something we could bring to the Finance Committee and develop a process for? So that we're sure that we're treating all townships fairly, and maybe we set aside a pot of money for these types of requests, and then we're not doing these loans or transfers. We have it all set aside, and when somebody comes, yes, we have the available funds, and we can help you with that in this manner. Plus, there's forms that would have to be filled out too. Some legalities.
Sure, then how quickly, do you have a little bit of time? I mean, if we can get this thing organized?
we have, if we're going to push forward from here, we have a 30-day, we need to send a certified letter to all 9 people in the subdivision and then wait 30 days and have a hearing. But if we're going to take that step, then, but we'd like to have an answer before then. And when you're talking about interest rates, at one time we were paying 3 or 4% on bonds. 3 3/4, I think, was the last bond issues, and that was on Madison Ridge subdivision. So, and the county obviously charges a setup fee or an administration fee for setting these specials up because it costs money for the auditor's office to do that. And in the past, Williston Township has paid those out of our budget as our contribution. In the past, we've tried to cover 5% of these too when we had the money available. But the only thing I want to clarify, though, is there's a difference between, like Madison Ridge, a $3.5 million project where you bond it, and a $240,000 project where you can't bond it. So I think Christie has a great idea of having a fund available for the smaller projects. But certainly for the bigger projects, bonding is the way to go. And I have no idea what the bond market is like now for municipal bonds. There is a market for municipal bonds, but I just don't know what kind of interest they're getting.
Well, we have a finance committee meeting on Thursday, right?
Yes.
So we've got something coming up real quick, and then we'd have our first meeting in June 1st. So if that, within 2 weeks, we could have an answer in a system.
Dan, did the lot owners indicate a time frame of years on payback? Do you know?
15 years. Because let's say we end up at 240 or 250, it's still quite a bit of money for 9 lot owners. even over 15 years, but the lots are big, they're 5-acre lots. And unfortunately, it's just 3/10 of a mile of road. So it's, you know, it's less than it would be if it was set up in a different configuration, but you know, the drive to get these things done is always people wanting to get their driveways paved. So then they get interested in getting the street paved, so that they can piggyback on and improve their neighborhood.
And I'd always maintain, I've been through one of these myself, it improves the value of the property, which helps everybody, so.
You know, Steve Madison, Madison Ridge is a good example of where once the pavement came in, it became a neighborhood. There was kids on bikes the first day out, people are out walking, all of a sudden the ditches are seeded, the yards are being cared for, the value of the houses goes up, the neighborhood looks better. It just adds a lot of value.
Do you think from the finance, you guys will be able to come back with a recommendation that says, okay, up to $250,000, this is how long we can do it for, up to $500,000, you know, just pick the numbers, so then when people are looking at it and asking, they'll kind of have an idea. 15 years seems like a long time for $250,000, even for 9 people, in my opinion. It seemed long, but maybe I'm wrong. That's why I like the idea of going to finance, and you guys can talk about it and see. I'm all for helping out and getting these things done.
How big a project? You said you don't bond the smaller ones, but what level do you go to where is like $1 million is where the starts for bonding?
I would think between $500,000 and $1 million, because for the bonding company to be interested in it's you know, you pay $15,000, $20,000 to have a bonding company issue the bonds for $250,000. Because they get, you know, they get their slice up front.
Just for reference, I just did some quick math. It divided it out by 9 and divided by 15 years. It's still $1,851 a year tax of specials. So it's significant. So it is. Right.
There was a time when if we could do these projects for $1 a day per lot owner, they would go. They were an easy sell, and we did that in West Acres once. It was $350 a year in specials.
I haven't been in that area down for a while. Are all these lots developed?
Oh, yeah. Yep. And most of them fairly nice homes. Okay, any other questions? Appreciate it. Quick update on 52nd Street. It's about 90% complete, Dennis. Striping, ditches need to be seeded. We're working with the city of Williston on a washout on the north side of it that's going to take a little extra work, but that project has come together really well. Sullen Construction has been the best construction project in my experience. And I know in Wayne and Dennis's too, they've just knocked that thing out of the ballpark. They were there early, they're going to be done early. It's just been really smooth. And of course, the weather's been good too, so thanks for the help on that one too.
Thank you.
Pretty good. Okay, gentlemen, thank you. I'll shoot to you guys. Thanks for doing this too.
Next up is the report of Human Resources.
Just a little bookkeeping first, because Mr. Mack has to leave. I think the plan is, because we're going to get done early, you guys will spend a little time with the county commissioners between meetings, and then Mr. Mack is encouraging the Elf Youth Day students to stay for the park board meeting, which these commissioners will also sit on. Commissioner Montgomery might be gone. If so, Quentin, you'll go over with Barry. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Mack, for doing this every year, year after year after year.
It should be in there. I updated their books.
Okay. So students, Before we can fill an open position at Williams County, we are required to get permission from the Board of County Commissioners. It's a way for the commissioners to control how the budget is expended, to make sure that we actually have money to fill positions that could go on for as long as someone is working at Williams County. So I give this report every commission meeting, and there are 3 columns. We're looking at the left column on the I would call it front page, but you don't know what that is. So you have a commissioner there to help you. So the sheriff's office has 2 openings right now. One position is a corrections officer. We actually, commissioners, if you remember, I mentioned to you a couple of months ago that we have a couple of people deploying with the National Guard. This is actually a position for someone who will deploy with the National Guard in August. And our approach for both of those positions, because they're gone for more than a year, is that we are hiring a full-time permanent person to fill the position, knowing that there'll be some attrition along the way, and that's how we'll handle the extra staffing. But we can't wing it for a year without that position. So a corrections officer, and then we do have a resignation out in the front office at the sheriff's office, so we're looking to fill that position as well.
Is there a motion to support the new 2 positions?
I so move.
Second? Is there a
I
second?
missed it totally.
Tucker made a motion to approve.
Tucker moved. Second, not yet.
I second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth will call a vote.
Trey,
Yes.
Tucker,
Yes.
Quentin,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
and Giles.
Yes.
Students, on the front of the page, you'll see that the middle section is positions we're currently advertising or interviewing for, and then other positions that have been budgeted but that we are not currently trying to fill. Now we're going to flip over the piece of paper. There are ways that members of the public can serve a county or serve a community without being on a board like this. There are many other boards. So on the left column, you see that there's a joint library board and a planning and zoning commission. That would be ways for community members to, in essence, apply with the county to be on a board. And then they could serve maybe a monthly meeting, maybe a quarterly meeting, but it's a way to serve your community without having to maybe have 2 meetings a month like this. But we're going to talk about the internal appointments in the middle column. This is a board, the Coordinated Regional Interoperability Board, or CRIB as it's known, relates to dispatch centers. They're called PSAPs, Public Safety Answering Points. This is a way for PSAPs to make sure that they can coordinate between regions if they have to dispatch law enforcement folks from one region to another. This makes sure everybody can talk together. So, commissioners, we do have a responsibility to appoint 2 members to the CRIB, and we would like to reappoint the 2 people that we have on that board. Derek Walker, who runs the PSAP, is our primary delegate, but if he were unable to attend, Sheriff Quandy, Verlin Quandy, is the alternate. So we'd like this board to reappoint both of those 2, please. And you see that their terms, both of those terms, I'm on it, Karen, start 7/1/21 and end 6/30/2023.
Looking for a motion to approve both internal appointments.
So moved.
So move.
Are you willing to be a second?
Oh, yeah.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth will call a vote.
Tucker,
Yes.
Quentin,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Giles,
Yes.
and Trey.
Yes. Motion passes.
That's all I have for you. Do you have anything for me?
I guess what the final action we need from the board is ratification of the Elks Youth Day counterparts' actions.
I'll make that a motion to ratify the Elks Youth Day counterpart actions and thank these guys for coming up and sitting in front of the room.
Excellent. We have a motion. Is there a second?
I will second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, Beth, roll call vote.
David,
Yes.
Barry,
Yes.
Corey,
Yes.
Steve,
Yes.
Bo,
Yes.
Okay, motion passes, and thank you all.
What time is it?
It is 8:30.